Hey, let's see what we do. Well, back here with Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, where last time we just... What was the last thing we did? We showed them that they couldn't possibly be looking at the TV and the foyer at the same time. That's absurd! The lying bastards! Anyway, we started the trial sequence here, and we got a little bit of progress into it, so no rambling, let's just carry on here.
But Mr. Justice, is Filch's less than stellar work ethic relevant to this case?
I kind of get the sense that Blackwell's going to bring up the fact that there's security camera footage, and presumably they have pulled it and it didn't show anything. In which case we know it's because one of them tampered with it, especially since we know Florent Labelle is A, the murderer, and B, threatening the caretaker and stuff. It's very relevant because while he was slacking off watching TV, there really could have been a Tematato impersonator in the foyer. Is that so? What now?
Granted, this Tanuki was lax in his duties, but he still had the foyer entrance covered.
What are you talking about? No, don't get your bird to show it. Please show it with your hands and mouth.
This.
I'm not a mind reader. Ah.
Auditory sense. His eyes may have been slacking off, but his ears were still hard at work. Right, Tanuki?
What? They were? I mean, yes, they were. That seems like a pretty flimsy thing. He was listening for someone to sneak out of the building. But you already admitted to slacking off. Now you say you weren't? My eyes might be lazy, but my ears ain't. I would have heard anyone in the foyer. You see, the foyer floor and the stairway get all creaky squeaky when someone walks on them. I hit the history button. Excuse me, you're on a ship. Creak, creak, creak. Loud enough to wake the dead, I reckon. So, you're saying you didn't hear anybody walk by? Yep, my ears were working full time. So who's the liar now, you no good shyster? A lying thief calling me a shyster. This has to be the low point of my fledgling career. I gotta hand it to you, Mr. Blackwell, sir. You really are something else. I mean, you don't miss a thing. And them bags under your eyes, they're darker than mine.
I don't see what that has to do with the case. Fair warning, Mr. Filch. Taka is particularly fond of Tanuki. Should you lie to this court again, you may suddenly find yourself on the menu.
Please don't let me miss Taka, sir. I don't think the bird understands English, Mr. Filch.
The witness will henceforth testify truthfully under penalty of painful bird attacks, which I am not permitted to administer legally, but I'm sure it'll happen. And with that in mind, the court requests that the witness revise his testimony accordingly.
Interesting. So is it a new testimony or something added? New one. Got it. Let's have a listen for whatever this is. Ears working overtime. Hey, it's true. I was watching a pro wrestling match on the office TV. My eyes might have been slacking off, but my ears, they were working overtime. Your TV speakers don't work? The floor there is all creaky squeaky like. No way I would have missed someone walking by. So you see, there weren't no Tematato in the foyer.
Superstition is the religion of feeble minds. Understand? A simple, irrational explanation is best. Forget yokai, demons, and such. We must use common sense, for lacking that our entire world would be but upside down.
Says the convict prosecutor is totally a sign of the end times for the legal world. Now, he said I would have heard someone walking by. Perhaps what they want me to say is that Tematato can fly, but of course that doesn't mean anything about the impersonator's capabilities. But common sense dictates that if we're assuming Jinxie's statement is correct and Tematato did leave through that way, the only way the Tematato impersonator could have gone is through the foyer, and if you would hear it by someone walking on it, then the explanation is he didn't walk. Meaning he flew, I guess. That's one way to look at it anyway. And besides, if there were any yokai roaming about, I'd have them and sell them to the zoo. I wonder whether Jinxie was just seeing things. That seems to be the general consensus, but I'm sticking to my guns. But if we can't prove she saw Tematato, the mayor's sure to be convicted. Then we'd better hope my guns fire bullets, not BBs.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Right, okay. Well, there's also the thing that apparently Tematato was making a jangly noise, right? So... Anyway, let's see what they have to say about this. Paula, what could this mean? Do you think Jinxie was just seeing things? Well, if that's the case, the details she provided were pretty impressive. But if we're to continue to believing Jinxie's statement, we'll have to uncover Filch's lie. Right, or find out why he can't tell the truth. So, I mean, either the explanation is he was distracted and just didn't see anything, even though Tematato was there, or he saw Tematato and won't tell us for reasons. I think the most obvious one being you're not supposed to say that you looked at Tematato. That said, I don't see like a specific contradiction as such. But the fact that he specifically says, no way I would have missed someone walking by. It sounds like maybe I'm supposed to be like, well, Tematato can fly. I'm gonna push on this point, though, and then maybe a few others before presenting that. Hold it! Hold it! So you have pretty good ears, Mr. Filch. As good as they come, I'd say. Ain't nothing to hear a creaky floor. Plus, that Tematato makes a sound when he goes by. It's like a jingle jangle. How would you know that? There's nowhere documented that he carries a staff or anything, such thing. Jingle jangle? How does he do that? It's that staff of his. That's what jingle jangles. What's he talking about, Apollo? Beats me, but I guess Tematato has a staff that makes noise? Kind of think of it, didn't Jinxie mention something like that too? She said she saw Tematato holding a staff-like object that made a jangly sound. Right, but the official artwork doesn't depict that, so that's suspicious. I guess that's the source of the noise then.
Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Filch says Tematato jingle jangles. Would you consider that vital information?
Yeah! That's super weird. Extremely vital. I request that it be added to his testimony. If Tematato was passed by, his staff would have gone jingle jangle. Objection! No, it wouldn't. Tematato's staff would make a jangly sound, you say? Well, I'm gonna say that your story doesn't add up.
Is there something the defense would like to share with the court?
Yeah, it's this little scroll. Mr. Filch, you say that you didn't see Tematato on the day of the incident. Why did you assume just now that Tematato would be holding a staff? Nah? You see, the Tematato Jinxie saw held a staff in his hands, and she described it to sound just like you did, as a kind of jangly sound. Yeah, so he was holding the staff, but what's your point? Objection. Yeah, but you couldn't have known that unless you saw exactly what she did, because the original... The point is that Tematato doesn't use a staff. Not normally. What are you talking about? You see, this is the only known document depicting Tematato. Is there a staff in that picture, Mr. Filch?
You're right, there's no staff. Not even a cane or a walking stick.
Yeah.
So the question is, why does the witness think Tematato uses a staff?
I believe the answer will overturn the prosecution's case on the most basic level.
Well now, this is getting interesting. All right, Mr. Justice, it's time to show the court where you're going with this. Please tell the court why Mr. Filch believes that Tematato carries a staff.
He's a scatterbrain, he actually saw Tematato, the scroll is wrong. He actually saw the Tematato that Jinxie describes. That's now two witnesses describing it with the staff, that's the only explanation. Or it's the most likely one anyway. Mr. Filch actually saw Tematato right after the crime occurred. That's the only way he could possibly know about the staff. Bashed it again!
Bloody hell, you duplicitous little...
Yes. How'd that feel, Black Quill? Has in more evidence that he's supposed to be like British-coded speech with the references to Jack the Ripper, and they spelled curious with OU. But I feel like if I try to give it an accent, it'll distract from it because I'm not good with accents. Not so fun when you're on the receiving end of the blade, is it? Admit it, Mr. Filch. You did see Tematato that day, didn't you? Well? I'm begging you. Please don't make me say it. It's a court of law. You're not supposed to lie. But clearly you did see Tematato. Stop stalling and testify to that fact. No can do. No way, no how. You ain't got no idea how terrifying he can be. He? Mr. Filch still won't admit to seeing Tematato, even though everyone knows he did. The question now is why? Mr. Filch is scared to death. Is that why he can't admit the truth? Come to think of it.
They say you must not gaze upon Tematato, but in the event that you do look, and tell anyone what you saw, Tematato will claim your soul.
Jinxie wouldn't admit to seeing Tematato either after hearing his village superstitions. She said that if she told anyone she had seen him in Tematato, he'd claim her soul. Wait, you think Filch believes that too? So Mr. Big Time City Slicker Lawyers... Sorry. So Mr. Big Time City Slicker Lawyers heard about him. Them old village superstitions. Yeah, no one would shut up about them when I was there.
Will the defense please explain what the witness is talking about?
The people of Ninetales Vale believe some pretty strange things, and their superstitions may be the reason our witness here can't admit the truth. The truth that he really did see Tematato. Did you darn straight, that's why. It's all right here. Village superstitions, they've got a handbook? Do not gaze upon Tematato, do not tell others if you see him. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul. There is, however, one way to save it, your immediate departure from the village. Freeing him will bring ruin upon the village. Huh. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul. See? And that's why us folks in the Ninetales Vale can't talk about seeing Tematoto. Wow. The whole book of it, it's like the Death Note, but much more neurotic somehow. And that clears up one mystery. The killer took advantage of the superstitions by wearing a Tematoto costume. They knew that way no one could talk about him. It was as if he never existed. The defense holds that this Tematoto impersonator is the true killer. What? I couldn't possibly have seen the duel leading up to that this whole time. Did the crate change? Is it now like a Clementine crate or something?
Superstitions, you say? What kind of a fool would actually believe such rubbish? And would that using some silly fairy tale so easily expose the culprit? You'll need to come up with a more rational, common sense explanation than that.
I've got wedge, but I've lost my train of thought. You're really scary. Your common sense seems awfully narrow-minded to me, Prosecutor Blackwell. Not Professor.
Try living in my world of narrow cells, mortal danger, and dark, sleepless nights. There is no lack of superstitions in the Clink, but few are those who truly believe in them.
Objection! What does that have to do with anything? Well, the village superstitions are real enough to the people of Ninetales Vale. A life or death superstition might make even you a believer. Double fist slam, he's getting serious. Wow, he's going absolutely berserk at this point. I feel like we've given like 4 points, and he's lost his mind already.
Order! Order, I say! You fool of a Tanuki. 2 times now your lies have cost me.
Sorry, I promise not to do it again. I might do it again, though.
Taka, my fine feathered friend, have at him.
Yeah, he's gonna eat my life! Hateful heels! I thought it was run for the hills. Nah! He took off. Is he allowed to do that, Judge?
But bailiff!
Your Honor, I mean...
What are you waiting for? After him, and with your fastest men!
That's certainly not something you see every day. Is any of this the prosecutor in shackles and with a hawk?
Well, it would seem a new and important fact has come to light. A third party disguised as the yokai Tematoto was at the scene, and now we have 2 witnesses who can attest to that fact. Any objections, Prosecutor Blackquill?
He's free! Oh! What? His shackles! I'm too young to die!
Justice, Dono. Long has it been since I've been forced to draw my blade. You had best say your prayers.
No, thank you! Bailiff! Why? No, please, God! Look at both of them are just hunched over like, no, God, why is this happening? Please, a bit of order in the court. No, please, wait. I surrender. Detective, do something. All right, you said you'd protect us. Have no fear, Fulbright is here. When the going gets tough, the champion of justice gets going. Can you do something now, please? Then get going already before he kills us. Oh, but I stand in awe of Simon Blackwell, for it is his sense of justice that set him free. Objection! I object to Detective Fulbright's definition of justice. Yes, he doesn't seem especially nimble-footed in our defense, does he? Silence. That's a new one.
I'm not in the habit of cutting down unarmed cowards.
Then why did you threaten us?
Oh, well, in that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, can I ask you to, you know...
I think the judge forgot he's in charge here. Oh, I thought he had a different colored feather, but it was just the other side of it.
So, Justice Dono's assertion is this. Tematoto is the real killer, not Mayor Tenma.
Again, someone dressed as him. Let's try to not put words in my mouth.
According to him, there was a yokai at the scene of the crime.
Right. And that yokai, or rather whoever was impersonating him, killed Artem and Kyuubi.
Silence.
Stop telling me to speak. Shut up. It's the court of law. It's sort of important that we both get a chance to speak.
Care to explain why Jinxie, being the first to discover the murder, did not see your alleged killer yokai here in the Fox Chamber?
As in, why did she only see when she went to call the Polis? A superb question. I suppose it's possible they were hiding in the air vent. Where are you going with this? What? He's right, she said nothing about Tematato being in the Fox chamber.
Let me enlighten you. That little scamp heard a dying scream right before she opened the chamber door.
And your point is?
Upon opening the door, she found a freshly skewed murder victim, the Alderman, and the homicidal maniac who had killed him, the mayor.
No, there must have been someone dressed up like
Then why does that little scamp claim not to have seen a yokai in the Fox chamber?
Well, considering her father is accused of murder, surely she would have mentioned any third party that might have been in the room. I don't understand. Why didn't she say Tematato inside the Fox chamber?
There is but one way to find out. Ask Jinxie Temma whether she saw your killer yokai at the scene of the crime.
Uh-oh.
The final battle draws nigh. Only one of us will leave here alive.
That's a bit extreme. I'm not gonna kill you when I win. I mean, hopefully no one has it. You know what? Maybe just forget I said that.
Long as my blade thirsted for blood, at long last it shall be sated.
Wait, this is still a trial, right?
Show me what you're truly capable of. Justice Dono.
Get the Hawkway first.
Interesting. Very well then. Both parties no doubt need some time to regroup, so the court will now take a 10-minute recess in order to... 3 minutes. I'm sorry, but a 3-minute recess? Just so. Plenty of time if your destination of intent is the loo. The loo? You mean the bathroom?
Sheesh. At least include enough time to wash our hands.
See that you take no more than 3 minutes. All latecomers will be punished. Yes, sir. I hereby declare a 3-minute recess before the battle begins.
I declare Prosecutor Blackwell the winner of this round of Simon Says. Doesn't bode well for us if the prosecutor is running the show, does it? It's not great. It's not great. Oh, okay, in the lobby, everyone give a big stretch. Oh, you get the... Oh, yeah. A few jumping jacks before the trial is always a good idea. Oh, yeah, get those legs stretching, otherwise you're gonna never be able to run when the prosecutor pulls out a weapon. All right, ready for law. This is interesting, though. He's making it seem like this may be a one-day trial. Oh, I've still got my Xbox controller plugged in. What the hell am I doing with that? Yes, having Jinxie testify again, the poor girl, is probably the best way to it, though. If she truly was just seeing things, which I don't believe, then probably something she would say would contradict the evidence pretty quickly, right? Let's have a look anyway. April 18th, 10:40 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. He busted out his shackles. Yeah, what was that all about? Guess they don't make shackles like they used to. Better be careful, Apollo. You've really brought out the samurai in him. Especially after you proved there was a Tematato impersonator at the manor. What's with that guy in the whole samurai act anyway?
Such fine swordsmanship. That is no mere act. Mr. Justice, it's high time I challenge this jailhouse prosecutor to a duel.
No, wait! Let's save the dueling until after we prove your innocence.
I suppose it could wait till later.
Does anyone remember we're conducting a trial here? Oh, I want to see the Ace Attorney trial, where it's just like a completely normal case where the prosecutor isn't like in a band or anything, and the explanation is genuinely just as simple as like, I don't know, her husband was cheating on her, so she shot him, and the prosecutor's all like, well, you don't know that, it could have been that baby over there, and you're just like, nope, it's got, the gun has her handprints on it, she has a motive, she even confessed. I want to see that Ace Attorney trial. Athena, I'm gonna go wash up. Remember what Blackwell said, Apollo, don't be late! Oh, man. Oh, okay, for a second I thought he was gonna get, like, ambushed in the bathroom again. He doesn't have a good, if you'll forgive these, the term trial record in this game with not getting beaten up mid-trial. April 13th, 10:43 a.m., exactly 3 minutes after. April 18th, 10:43 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 4. Now then, I believe our next witness is Miss Jinxie Temma, a maid at QB Manor. I believe we can proceed now, if the witness is ready, that is. Nurari, leader of the 100 demons. He really does exist. Nurari Hayon. Nurari Hion? Wow, that is one well-polished tray. That's how she's just going to talk to the court.
The witness will show her face while in court, or her testimony will be inadmissible. What is it, my child? Begone, Nurari-hyon, leader of the 100 demons. You think I'm a yokai? Well, I was once known as a traditional monster of sorts. The beast of the bar, the demon of due process, if you will. My charm has no effect.
The demon of due process? Not sure I can see that one.
Now, you little scamp. Yes? I trust you know why you're here. Bags. Bags? Oh, that tricksy Tanuki. Try the noodle stand, and go enjoy a big bowl of Tanuki tail noodles while you're at it.
Everyone's a comedian.
No, I meant your bags, the ones under your eyes. You must have trouble sleeping. Here, this charm will keep Azuki-ari away. Azuki-arai, baby. Azuki-arai, the yokai that washes Azuki beans. The only thing needing washing will be your father's neck before I take his head clean off. Azuki-arai often keeps people up at night with the noise he makes washing beans. But if you stick this charm on your forehead, you won't hear him anymore. Is that so? Well, thank you.
Looks like Prosecutor Blackwell got more than he bargained for. They're bad enough alone, but together those two are just plain creepy. They're certainly confusing.
Your testimony, if you please, Miss Tenma. Specifically, whether or not you saw Tenma Taro when you discovered the crime scene.
Alright, let's hear this. Jinxie, whatever you do, just tell the truth and breathe, it'll be fine. Don't stick any more charms on any members of either team. What Jinxie saw?
Did I see Tenma Taro in the Fox Chamber? Well, when I opened the door, I saw, yes, now I remember. Yokai right there in that room.
Really? Where is this all of a sudden? So there was a yokai at the scene of the crime.
Lots and lots of them.
Lots of them? Wait, more than one yokai? Did Tenma Taro happen to be among them?
I don't know. I just don't know. All I know is the room was swimming in yokai. Kasha, Nurikabe, Seto Taisho. They were all there. Well, this is an unexpected turn of events. We've gone from no yokai to a flood of them.
Does the photograph we have show all the statues in the back? It doesn't, but over on this side there were a bunch of, like, figurines of them.
This is ludicrous. You would have this court listen to this delusional little scamp's testimony.
Your Honor, I believe her memory is simply clouded by fear, but a quick therapy session should ease her mind. With the court's permission, of course.
What a fabulous idea. Please proceed, Miss Cykes.
Brilliant. Move Matrix time. Let's do it. You sure know what you're doing, Athena? She's obviously not herself. The trauma of discovering that crime scene and fear of testifying have her dazed and confused. A regular ball of confusion. But my analytical psychology-based approach should be able to help.
Any objections, Prosecutor Blackwell? Shall we let Miss Cykes proceed? It makes no difference to me. Do as you will, but I doubt we shall get any viable testimony. She'd be better served by bearing witness to the sword skills I forged in a distant land.
I'll show you. Widget, read this kid's emotions. This is not invasive whatsoever. The way she opens it is she taps a little smiley face out. I didn't notice that. That's awesome. Right, okay. There were only 3 or so points. Oh my god, it's going ham. She is very distressed. Did I see Tenma Taro in the Fox Chamber? Well, when I opened the door, shiver, I saw, yes, now I remember. Yokai, right there in that room. Found something. It looks like an out-of-control emotion. Athena, what exactly are we looking at here? A lot of yokai, Apollo. Oh, this? It's one of Widget's functions. Right here you can see the images and emotions extracted from the witness's voice. Whoa! You mean that little thing can do all this? Pretty cool, huh? And here I thought it was just some kid's toy. Unfortunately, all I'm getting is an overflow error right now. She's really freaking distressed. See how sad is brightly lit there at the bottom left? She's under an uncontrollable amount of distress, which is masking her other emotions. Oh, well, that's not good. It seems the sheer terror she experienced has made her a confused mess. So all those yokai she thinks she saw are a product of rampant emotions? Yes, that's right. Her fear is instilled in her hallucinations and false memories. She's seeing normal everyday objects as monsters in her mind. It's a form of schizophrenic hallucination brought by an emotional trauma. Is that what? I somehow had the idea that schizophrenia, you didn't just develop it by experiencing something traumatic, but I'm certainly no expert. That would be you here. I hope after this quick therapy session, she has some lengthier therapy sessions after. This poor kid. And the trauma in Jinxie's case is fear. So she was and still is seeing ordinary objects as yokai. I'll have to find the root cause of her extreme fear before I can treat it. Now, let's see. Could it be that she saw a murder? Apollo, can you point out the yokai on the Wheel of Fire? She seems particularly terrified of that one. Oh, okay. Start by tapping probe. Next, point to what's causing Jinxie's out of control emotion. Finally, tap probe again to try and get the heart of the matter. Okay, let's give this a try. So I tap probe and then do the wheel? Oh, interesting. So how, for future ones, how would I know which one is the most important? Jinxie, what's the name for that yokai on a Wheel of Fire?
That's, Kasha, a yokai that steals the bodies of the recently deceased. I bet it came to steal the aldermans.
It's almost creepy how well that fits this actual situation. Exactly! It's a form of hallucination where the patient can't see things for what they are. There must be something at the scene of the crime that she's mistaking for Akasha. For a Wheel of Fire? I guess there are fiery tales of the statues. Paul, you need to point out what she thought was a yokai on a Wheel of Fire. I think I know the answer now. Jinxie, that wasn't Akasha you saw. Could you have possibly mistaken this for Akasha? Oh no, I guess it would be this thing at the top here. I can see how that would look like a Wheel of Fire. I didn't notice it before. Take that! You scared child!
The light fixture?
This one, right here. It has a flame design and is up there on the ceiling. There was never a yokai on a Wheel of Fire. The Kashi you saw was just a light fixture. Shoot, I wasn't supposed to scare her more. Damn it. Are we supposed to get the rest of them too? Or just one of them is important enough? That's one memory back to normal. Nice job. Now that you've got the hang of it, it should be a cinch to point out the rest. Jinxie, what about this white wall-like monster? Well, that would be the screen then, I guess.
That's Nunakabe. It's a wall monster that blocks your way or leads you astray. Shit.
Nope. That's no yokai, Jinxie. It's a folding screen. And this raccoon dog isn't a tanuki monster. It's just a statue of one. And look, these are just coffee cups. And this right here is nothing more than a fox statue.
I don't know what I was thinking.
God, Apollo, I feel like we're not handling this delicately. Noise level down to 50%. Okay, now we can... The discordant emotion will be able to be seen. You did it, Apollo! Her extreme fear is under control now.
It was all just my eyes playing tricks on me. There weren't any yokai after all.
See? A clear-cut statement. That's the power of my psychology and your intuition, Apollo. And just like we thought, there never really were any yokai in the Fox Chamber. Well, its noise level is at 50. Wait, hold on. Don't go making declarations yet.
Right. There never really were any yokai there. So the defense is asserting the exact opposite of their original assertion?
Wait. Jinxie, what about Temotaro?
There wasn't anyone there dressed up as Temotaro, or any other yokai either. I remember it clearly now.
You got it! Joking! The noise level was still at 50%, Athena. Can we not take that into account? There's still something wrong with this.
Order! Order in the court!
I think we just dug our own grave.
Allow me to push you on in. It's the least I could do.
Stop spitting feathers at me! Yay! No! Apollo, can I interrupt your freak out for just 1 minute? I'm still picking up some noise. It's an unexpected emotion. Does that mean Jinxie hasn't remembered everything yet? Exactly. We should be able to get something else out of her. I'll enter the new information we have and run an update. Smiley face. That's if I ever die, Apollo, and you need to run out of this thing, basically smiley face is everything. Did I see Temetato in the fox chamber? I was so scared when I entered the room. My legs gave out and I fell to the floor. Info update. There in the fox chamber, I saw Shiver, the alderman dead on a table, and Papa collapsed in a chair. Info update. Nobody else was there, and that includes Temetato. Wait, what am I supposed to do? Try to find the emotions that contradict her statements. So if I find a contradictory emotion, I should point it out? That's right. But it's not just contradictory emotions you should look out for. You should also keep an eye out for sudden changes in an emotion's intensity. Her emotions might get stronger or weaker as you move from statement to statement. It's important to compare how the same emotion changes throughout the testimony.
Ah, I see. I did not realize. I was just seeing it as binary.
Contradictory emotions and changes in intensity. Okay, I'll give it a shot. You're the psychologist. Shouldn't you be doing this?
Okay, so sad is really strong here. Surprise bumped up a bunch. Sad went down, surprise stayed pretty strong. Sad's back up again. It's weird that sad goes down for a minute while she falls over. Continue to be surprised here. And the surprise is sort of starting to fade. Well, since they just introduced this thing about emotions changing intensity, I'm sure that's what they want us to put on now, is one where it changes intensity. It's very weird that for a moment here, her sadness gets a little lower.
Got it, I guess. The amount of fear you felt is rather low despite your legs having giving out from fright. Could something have lessened your fear?
Actually, I did experience a sudden burst of courage at that moment.
Did you see the charm or something? You did? Where did it come from?
Let me think. Oh, it was Mama.
Was there a flower there?
I suddenly felt as if she was there with me.
Okay, I'll enter sudden burst of courage. Now let's see. Ah, look!
Info update.
Right, this is that missing stage where she suddenly felt courage. I presume something to do with the flower, but I don't see how that helps the scene at all. Apollo, the noise is all gone. She seems to have remembered everything now. New noise level 0. Booyakasha! Good, it's a good sign. Bye-bye. A sudden burst of courage. Now where could that have come from? Was there a flower at the scene? Or was she just holding one, maybe? I certainly don't see one. It boosts Jinxie's courage because it was her mother's favorite. Okay, it does specifically say that on the flower. Jinxie, was there something that gave you a sudden burst of courage?
Yes, there was, but, I realized I had done something naughty when I thought about it later.
Any idea what could have given Jinxie that courage? Well, there is one piece of evidence that comes to mind. I wonder if she saw something like it at the scene of the crime. Jinxie, did your sudden burst of courage have anything to do with this flower? Jinxie, you didn't happen to see a Ninetales flower there at the scene, did you?
The demon lawyer strikes again. I can't hide anything from you. I found a small case with a picture of a Ninetales flower on it. I liked it so much I kept it.
A small case? Is that aforementioned briefcase that Damien had? Because if so, it would probably still have the blackmail letter in it. Maybe? You what? You can't remove evidence from a crime scene? Stop shouting under Apollo.
That's right, young lady. Removing evidence is a big no-no. Now, the witness will produce that evidence this instant. Sorry. There does seem to be some sort of case.
Oh, look, something slid out. Oh, is this the master key?
It appears to be a key.
Might I have a look, your baldness?
Well, you're going to take it with the bird anyway, so I guess that's a whatever. Don't matter if I answer yes or no. This is none other than the master key to QB Manor.
Where did she see that flower? Or where did she find the case?
Are you certain of this, Prosecutor Blackwell?
It matches the serial number of the key that went missing after the murder. The master key? That went missing? Why don't I like the sound of that? So she found the master key inside the scene of the crime, and then took it. I don't see how that changes anything, actually. Our little scamp here has stumbled upon an article of unimaginable consequence. That's a little melodramatic, don't you think?
Heed these words, for I shall say them but once. The sole key to the Fox Chamber has been in this little scamp's constant possession. Ergo, she was the sole person who could use it before, during, and after the murder.
No. She acquired it after the murder, if it was in this case. That's what we just said, unless I completely misunderstood.
Which leaves the master key as the only other key that could open the chamber. But this master key was found in a room that had been locked by this girl.
Sorry, you're supposing there are two master keys? I'm so confused. Oh no, she had another key that could open the door as the maid. Is that what you're saying? And your point is?
Until Jinxie Tenma opened the Fox Chamber with her key, the room had been locked tight from the outside world, and there was no one else in there save the victim and his killer. Ignore that air vent that we've drawn so much focus to. It really would ruin my point if you did notice it. I trust you have figured it out for yourself by now. A killer other than Mayor Tenma himself would be utterly inconceivable.
No! Apollo, what about the vent? No, it's over, Athena! The door was locked! There's nothing we can do! How could this happen?
The defense's assistant will refrain from growling her frustrations.
Athena, are you alright? I know Mayor Tenma's innocent, but there's nothing we can do! This sucks.
Cykes, Dono. Allow me to put you out of your misery.
Can I decline your offer?
Abandon your client and your misplaced faith in him. Let the relief of a clear head and a clean conscience come rushing in. That will make the inevitable guilty verdict far easier to accept.
Great. Now he's playing Simon Says with us. Well, he's not gonna fool us with his stupid mind games. Athena, don't fall for his tricks. Now I'm the one who's dazed and confused. I can't even think straight. Hey, are you alright? She fell right into his trap.
Now I suggest you make a mad dash from the courtroom and into the wild blue yonder. Only by running shall your mind be cleared and your conscience cleansed.
Alright, I'll be back in 10. No, Athena, please God. Stay with me, Athena. Don't let yourself be twisted by that samurai. Apollo?
Mr. Justice, I heard the word objection, but what is it you object to?
Huh? Oh, right. That objection was more of a reflex than anything else. Though I was hoping something would come into me while I was trying to stop Athena.
The court is waiting, Mr. Justice, though as it stands now, I'll be forced to declare your client guilty and your legal skills suspect if this is it. Now, do you have anything that could overturn the prosecution's case?
Well, actually I do. I'm Apollo Justice and I'm fine. Apollo, you do have something more than your cards of steel, don't you? Not really, but we'll be fine. But, I've got absolutely nothing, but that's never stopped me before. I have to explain how the real killer could have escaped that locked room, because it's all over if I don't. Apollo, this calls for a new approach. Try to think outside the box. Or in this case, inside the box. And what a doozy that locked room is, too.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have anything that can counter the prosecution's argument?
You bet I do.
If it's not the air vent, and it probably isn't the window because it doesn't open enough, then maybe someone could have been hiding in this thing. The charm is off of it anyway, and I found that weird the whole time.
The real killer must have escaped from the locked room one way or another.
Vague conjecture shall only earn you a taste of my blade, Justice Dono. I don't know if it's Dono or Dono. Sorry, I've been saying Dono, I think.
Time to do or die, literally.
I think that suffix is it's like an ancient feudal Japan thing. Something about an honorific samurai would use. It means something like my lord. It's polite anyway, I think. Or it's supposed to be. It's not polite whenever he says it, I feel like it's an insult. The defense will now explain how it would be possible to escape the locked room.
You sure about this, Apollo? Can you really explain what happened? I'm fine. We just need to think this whole escaping a locked room over thing from the beginning. So let's see, if the killer had escaped, how could they have done so? The choices are pretty limited. The room has a window, but it doesn't open wide enough for anyone to get through, and there's a sheer cliff outside. As for the air vent, it's pretty high up, so they would need a ladder, a pole vault or something. It's up too high, and there's nothing you could stand on to reach it. And needless to say, this big door is locked. The forbidden chamber wouldn't open no matter what we did, so that's out. Yeah, that's why we gotta keep the solution simple. Like they say, simple is best. Okay, so maybe my theory about them hiding in that room is less plausible. We need to rule out all of the absolutely impossible escape routes. Then whatever's left just might lead us to how the Fox Chamber was compromised. Your Honor, the defense proposes that the killer escaped through here.
Ah.
Well, I don't know that I'd say the Forbidden Chamber is impossible. We couldn't open it, but it's possible that there's just some trick to opening it that we didn't know because we're not, we don't work there. And the fact that the charm has been removed suggests it was open since that's supposed to be there forever, right? Because the way, okay, so the three, okay, so, oh, actually, well, okay, I'm starting to piece together what they were talking about like 20 minutes ago. I understand, why Temotaro would have had to wait until she got back from the phone to get out of there if he was still hiding in this room. Yeah, well, I guess there's no reason he couldn't have still been hiding in this room, right? There's a folding screen there you can't really see behind. I mean, I think one way or the other, the killer was hiding in this room, right? Because Jinxie saw... Why am I not allowed to move this? Oh, okay, there we go. Jinxie saw it run from like here, right? So it's not as though he climbed out through the air duct and went down here, because she would have seen him drop out of that, no doubt. So he had to have been leaving through the room, we didn't see the hallway enough to know if there was anything interesting there, so I don't think it's there. He had to, the impersonator had to have come out through the room. So the question is, where was he hiding in the room while she came in there, because if it was locked, then once he killed the alderman, he wouldn't be able to get out until she came in and unlocked it to check, right? So he had to wait in here somewhere for her to unlock it. So either he just hid behind like a chair or something, right? Because I doubt she went and looked thoroughly. Either he just hid somewhere directly in the Fox Chamber, like maybe behind the screen or behind whatever, or he knows how to get into the Forbidden Chamber and looked in there, because the charm did come off. I don't have any conclusive proof one way which one of it would be, but I'm pretty sure it's either that he was still just hiding in the room around here, or in the chamber. I'm gonna go with the chamber because the charm is missing. That's like the most evidence I have to where he might be.
And just how did the killer escape through there, Mr. Justice? Your reasoning skills seem as questionable as your proposed escape route.
I wish I could escape right now.
I'm afraid there's no escaping a penalty for your random guessing, Mr. Justice.
Could I try that one again? Oh wait, escaped through. Well, that's different. They're asking, how did he get out of the room? Well, to the door. Right?
The hallway door? Well, yes, I suppose that would be the only way out. It would appear you've already forgotten. The only available key until Jinxie Tenma came on scene was within that locked room. He didn't leave until she came into that locked room. How would one exit the Fox Chamber and then lock it without a key?
I should have seen this coming. Remember, Apollo, keep it simple. Simple, right. I could understand if the killer had exited the room with the key, but...
Well, Mr. Justice, the prosecution has some fine Japanese steel waiting unless you explain yourself quickly.
Now you're threatening me? I am fine. I can explain myself. The reason the Fox Chamber's hallway door was locked was because... Tenma locked it from inside, the perp locked it from the outside, it locked on its own. Wait, I'm so confused. How many keys were there? Okay, the perp locked it from outside doesn't make sense because the perp would need to have a key. And the only keys were the one Jinxie had and then the master key that QB had. So the only one is that Tenma locked it from inside, I guess. Mayor Tenma locked it himself after the killer fled the scene. What? He was unconscious after the killer fled the scene. Just in case the killer decided to return. That doesn't sound right, Apollo. That would explain why the room was locked. Wait, okay, I don't understand why they're all like, why was the room locked? They locked it. They have keys. Hang on, I'm obviously extremely confused. So QB and Tenma were in there, one of whom has a master key, that would be QB, and he locked the door when they went in there. I don't understand why that's outlandish. And then Tenma climbed in from the vent in the hallway. Or sorry, the killer climbed in the vent from the hallway, dropped down, knocked out Tenma, killed QB, hid in that room, and then Jinxie unlocked the door, and then the killer ran out. I don't understand why that's not a plausible explanation. Or if it is, why I'm having trouble explaining the way I think that's going.
Yes, I see. Then again, wouldn't Mayor Tenma have mentioned that himself?
Oh, maybe it slipped his mind because of that blow to his head?
I have already considered and investigated such possibilities.
You have?
The mayor's fingerprints were not found on the door or its doorknob. The only fingerprints found belonged to the alderman, who presumably locked it when he got inside, hence why it was locked. Ergo, the mayor did not so much as touch the door.
Oops. But it has to be... Okay, so it didn't lock... The perp locked it from the outside. Without a key? It locked on its own is stupid. Unless it... I mean, we didn't get any information that it's a door that can lock on it on its own, so the perp locked it from outside? What if the room was locked from the outside? In other words, the killer took the key through the hallway door, then locked it... Ouch!
Consider this. The master key was found inside the tightly locked fox chamber.
Oh, wait, no. She found... Wait. Oh, I'm so confused. When did she find that key? Did she find it when she first got there, right? At which point it was already locked because... Are they just saying that Alderman QB and Damien Tema definitely didn't lock the door on their way in? I don't know how we would know that, but... God, I this is absolutely... I have no idea what I'm trying to prove here.
Any assertion that the key was removed from that room is a blatant contradiction of fact.
Exiting the room before locking the door would require taking the key outside. But the key was found inside the room, which does seem like a contradiction. If only we could explain both. Like how the key could be inside the room and be used to lock the door from the outside. Hang on, is there something really illogical about the way I'm thinking about this? QB and Tenma walk inside to have a chat about whatever. They lock the door, the killer climbs in through the air vent, knocks out Tenma, kills the alderman, and then hides in that room. Jinxie goes and finds the doors locked because the alderman locked it. She unlocks it with her maid key, finds the master key, picks that up, and then leaves and calls the police. When she comes back, now that she's unlocked the door, the killer runs out. I don't understand why that's not plausible. Or if that is what the explanation, then why am I having such trouble seeing it in the choices that they're giving me?
Well, let's see if the defense can respond before Prosecutor Blackwell draws his sword. How could the master key be at the crime scene despite the room being locked tight?
Slipped it in when the door was open, threw it in from outside, changed the lock. What? Because it was on QB's body. That's how. I really don't understand what's being asked here. I have no idea why the master key couldn't be on the body of the person who owned the master key and used the master key. Why is that so unrealistic? Well, this is under the assumption, because that's because under this assumption, the perp locked it from outside for some reason. How does that even work? Why would the perp ever have locked it from the outside? What? I just... hang on a sec. I need to draw it out, apparently, because I have no idea what they're saying. Why don't I have any paper? I have no idea. I'm baffled. Even the paper didn't help. I guess I just gotta pick all the options, because none of them make any sense to me. I'm misunderstanding who had what keys or something. My understanding currently is that Jinxie had a key that would let her into that room because she was a maid, and then there was also the master key that Alderman QB always had on his person. So the only people who could open this door were the alderman and Jinxie, and so the alderman opened it to let him and Damien in there, and then locked it behind him. So LaBelle had no way of getting in there except climbing in the air duct, and he killed Dude Man, knocked other Dude Man out, hid in there, but he couldn't get out now because it was locked and you can't get back up through this air duct. So we had to wait in here for someone else to open it. The only one being able to open it would be being Jinxie. She unlocked it, got distracted by the pretty thing on the ground, picked that up, and then left to call the police, at which point he was able to leave. This is my understanding of it. I have no idea how or why LaBelle would have locked it from the outside. I don't know how he would have had the authority to change the lock. I don't know how he could have thrown it up a cliff or through the air vent. And if I'm saying he climbed through the air vent, then he wouldn't have been there to slip it in when the door was... Slipped it in when the door was opened? Who opened what door? I just don't even have any idea. I have enough health to just try all of them, I guess. What if someone threw it into the room from some outside? You know, something like go out the hallway door, lock the room, and then toss the key back in through the window? That would explain how the master key could be inside the locked room.
And where would you throw it from? There's a cliff outside the Fox Chamber's window. Throwing the key in from there is an impossibility.
Oh, right. I wonder if the key could have been tossed in from somewhere other than the window. Somewhere other than the window? Could the key have been tossed in through somewhere other than the window? Well, like the air duct, I guess.
The air vent?
Yes, the window may be out of the question, but the air vent's not. Oh, that's right. The Fox Chamber's air duct leads out into the hallway. That's right. The real killer entered the air duct from the vent outside the Fox Chamber, then dropped the key in through the room through the vent inside the chamber.
preposterous.
Ooh, that explains how the key got in there after it was used to lock the door perfectly. It was used to lock the door? What do you mean it was used to... Nope, I don't understand. It's fine, just... I don't understand when it was and wasn't locked, that's all. There's no record of it, so I guess I just forgot.
Mr. Justice, I'm afraid I'm a bit confused.
No, you're not! Don't worry. I'll explain it so even your honor can understand. First, the real killer, disguised as Tematato, murdered the alderman in the Fox chamber. Then, they fled the room through the hallway door and locked it. Next, they entered the air duct from the vent outside in the hallway. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I get what they're getting at. So it's not that my proposal didn't make sense as much as this one is more reasonable when you consider that the killer was probably trying to make it look like Damien was the only one who could have done it. Okay. Finally, the killer tossed the key into the room through the air vent in the ceiling there. All that was left to do after that was to go back through the duct and flee the manor. Well, Your Honor, could that be any clearer?
Amazing! Even I could follow that!
The judge seems really pleased. That explains everything. The real killer was someone dressed up like Tematato. And there was someone else other than the mayor and the alderman in that room.
Hey, it looks like that lawyer's beating the jailbird prosecutor.
Wow, that was a total turnabout. Well, that massive forehead of his seems so much more attractive now. Goddamn, Filch was right.
Order, I say!
Now that I've proved a possible third party, I don't see how our client could be guilty. Stop saying that.
A valiant effort, Justice Dono, but your final thrust missed its mark.
Huh?
Both that little scamp and the tricksy Tanuki saw the yokai after it left the room. But then what? Did that irksome yokai simply go through the foyer and waltz right out the front door?
That's exactly what happened. The killer fled from the... Ouch!
But that is impossible, without being spotted by the foyer's security camera, that is.
Uh-huh.
And did we have any testimony that the security camera didn't pick it up? The electric eye here would have captured any pesky little yokai trying to escape.
Or maybe they took off their disguise at that point, and who it was someone else left. Well, I guess we know it was LaBelle. He could have just taken off the disguise then and just walked back into the caretaker's office, right?
However, there is no sign of Tematato anywhere in the security footage.
What? Who is there in the security footage around that time?
Save for the foyer entrance, there is no other way to flee the manor, is there?
I don't feel so good. Wait, I believe there is one other way to escape besides the foyer entrance. There's a large window in the foyer. It's possible to escape through there without being seen by the security camera. Hey, you're right.
I didn't see it on the diagram, but you're right, Athena. Must I point out every crucial detail to the defense? It seems you lack not only brains, but investigative prowess to boot.
Oh, I see the windows there. You're right.
That is the cliff side of the manor. The only killer escaping that way would be a dead one.
No! Wait, so the killer didn't escape out the foyer window? What the heck, right?
I suppose your next proposal is the killer sprouted wings and flew off into the sunset.
That would mean the killer really was a yokai. If only we had some sort of evidence that could point to a flying killer. Who's saying we don't? As completely far-fetched as it might be. What? You're saying you can prove the killer can fly? Well, I mean, I can't prove it, but there was a photograph. Whoa, I thought I was the one with the cords of steel.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Your Honor?
What evidence do you have that the killer flew away?
Well, it seems like a much more plausible explanation to me would be that it was someone in costume who didn't need to leave because they could just go in here and be seen as a normal person. Take a look at this special edition paper. Tematato, real or flight of fancy?
Oh, sorry, Tematato, real or flight of fancy?
What does this article prove, Mr. Justice? The photo in that article was taken shortly after the murder. Maybe the yokai in that photo is the killer shortly after they fled out of the window?
Mr. Justice, you're not seriously suggesting...
Oh, I'm serious. I mean, it all adds up. The killer disguised as Tematato flew away. You know, by some way or another.
Silence. It's really his favorite word now, isn't it? It is your brain that has flown the coop. That image is not but trick photography or some other form of artifice.
Okay, then how about the Temataro figure Mr. Filch saw? It just vanished into thin air?
No. There is a rational, common-sense explanation for that. That infernal yokai our Trixie Tanuki witnessed never reached the entrance. He, or should I say she, turned back before the camera's electric eye.
She? I don't like where this is going one bit. How long was it before they indicted the child, whom the detectives say had no motive?
Now, the fact that we know the yokai had come from the Fox Chamber means that it was likely either Mayor Damien Tenma or his daughter Jinxie Tenma. However, we know that Mayor Tenma was already unconscious at that time.
Not good. Not good at all.
Do you understand the gravity of the situation now, Justice Dono? The falsified yokai remnants and the appearance of Temataro were the work of one individual. And that individual was none other than Jinxie Tenma.
So how did she pretend to be Temataro, who is like 7 feet tall? Enough to convince Filch. Don't scream at this, Apollo. This is an absolutely garbage contradiction. We're totally fine. Just calm down. Order! Order! The defense will stop competing for the greatest freakout ever.
The little scamp was no doubt simply trying to protect her father, and it's no wonder that her superstitious mind conjured up this mad masquerade.
Prosecutor Blackwell's assertion makes perfect sense to me. It's far more convincing than saying the killer escaped by flying out of the window.
Did you truly believe this could end any other way?
Ah, no, I'm not taking this sitting down. I should end the episode now because it's been going on too long, but I have to see this one through. Did we fall right into his trap? What do we do now, Apollo? Our case no longer stands without a real yokai. If only we had one.
Bailiff, seize her. It is time I interrogated her as the samurai of yore would.
Why do I feel like that's a really tortury way for that to go?
Is it going to be Damien being like, you can't do that?
Of course. Mayor Tenma?
This farce is over. How does it feel seeing your own daughter accused of a cover-up most foul? Tenmataro's true identity is... Now, Mr. Mayor. It would be futile at this point to claim you were the yokai. After all, you'd been knocked out cold by a blow to the skull. Slipping into a yokai costume and roaming about the manor would be all but impossible. Consider this well. As it stands, your daughter will be arrested for obstruction of justice. But if you confess, the prosecution will be willing to overlook her little yokai farce.
Confess? The defendant intends to confess? I don't know if the prosecutor's a master of suggestion as much as the judge is just extremely suggestible. Wait! Apollo, Prosecutor Blackwell's up to his mind games again. Mayor Tenma, no. Don't fall for his twisted words. If you're sent away for murder, Jinxie will be left all alone.
The real killer is...
Mayor Tenma's gonna confess unless we do something. But I can't prove how the real killer could have flown away.
Caw. Look upon me in despair, for ripe is the time of my return.
Uh-oh. I should watch what I wish for. Why are you being possessed or pretending to be possessed? Yep, this isn't normal.
Caw. Foolish mortals. I am Tenmataro, the yokai you seek.
Mayor Tenma?
Silence. I am Tenmataro, freed from the bonds binding me to the Forbidden Chamber. Behold, the return of the Demon King.
What the? Demon King?
Well then, I think it's time for me to take a vacation!
What the hell is happening? This trial took a turn from I get exactly where this is going to nope, I don't understand any of the points being made. Who does this?
The witness will, he will explain himself. Are you saying you're Temataro, the yokai we've been chasing this whole time? Indeed, it is I, Tenmataro, the one whom you seek, come to reveal the truth. This child is Tenmataro, you say? Ha! What nonsense!
So, Mayor Tenma is a yokai now.
Caw. His body is now mine.
So you're saying that Mayor Tenma is being possessed by you? And that the yokai that Jinxie Tenma and Phineas Filch saw, and the one captured in the newspaper photo, those were all you?
The accursed power of these warding charms prevents me from revealing my true form.
Your baldness. Can this not be interpreted as an admission of guilt?
Well, a confession by a yokai would be quite unprecedented.
Be that as it may, the defense's case has been overturned. Huh? What? You claimed the yokai that little scamp saw was some third party, the true killer. The one who escaped from the locked fox chamber. But it was the accused all along. Ironic, is it not? Your yokai turned out to be real, in a manner of speaking. For the alderman's killer is none other than Mayor Tenma. And the yokai at the scene? That too was Mayor Tenma. Or should I say our dear Tenmataro. The pieces have all fallen into place. How so, Prosecutor Blackwell? It seems I must spell it all out for you. It's your job, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. What you're proposing is that... No, I don't understand. Where did the feathers come from, if there wasn't actually a mascot costume and it's just him being possessed? Mayor Tenma killed the alderman in the fox chamber, which was locked at the time. He then removed the warding charms from the forbidden chamber's door, but then fell unconscious from the blow the alderman had delivered to his head. What? What? How many pounds of meth? That's when his daughter Jinxie Tenma stumbled upon the scene of the crime. The little scamp fled in terror, whereupon the spirit of Tenmataro, freed at last from the charm's warding effect, took possession of the mare. The newly freed Tenmataro then fled from the fox chamber. I think the word is fled. So you see, the yokai Jinxie Tenma saw was her father possessed by Tenmataro. Oh no, it does say fled. Sorry, I read it wrong. So what about the feathers then? He's possessed now and isn't all feathery, so where did all those feathers and tracks come from?
Objection!
But when we arrived on scene, the mayor was found unconscious. How's that possible if he was supposed to have flown out the foyer window? Then what? Do you mean to say the maid of QB Manor, Jinxie Tenma, was Tenmataro? No, I just want you to explain the contradiction I just pointed out. God, you're the most confusing prosecutor. No.
Caw. That too is easily explained. Flew about for a time did I, but presently tired, I made for the forbidden chamber. But alas, exhaustion took me unawares in the fox chamber, and I knew no more.
Now you're saying you flew around and then back in through the same window and up the stairs again, and no one noticed that? Isn't it, the windows are... Well, I guess you could fly in here and you would avoid it. I defy you explain all how this flying abroad is going down without anyone seeing. This is so, whoa. This child went from like a basic logic to like, I have no idea. Is Blackwell up to his tricks again?
I don't know what to say. Is the defendant a real, live?
So that rumor about Mayor Tenma is true. I knew yokai were real.
You mean he really did kill the alderman just so he could release Tenmataro? Order!
Now he's got everyone in the courtroom believing in yokai. It's Simon Says on steroids! He wants to convict our client any way he can. Oh, he wants to convict our client any way he can, even if it means blaming a yokai. The proverbial ducks are all in a row. You should now have no qualms about finding the accused guilty, your baldness.
This is one of the most bizarre cases in my entire career. Otherworldly, in fact. Can yokai even be prosecuted under our legal system?
Objection!
I have no idea! Mayor Tenma is just pretending to be Tenmataro to protect his daughter. Plus, I already proved how a third party could have escaped from the locked room. A verdict at this point would be premature.
Since both sides have raised valid points, I've no choice but to... This is the dark age of law where defense attorneys are not to be trusted. This is but a ploy to gain time for them to fabricate evidence. How will I sleep tonight? Knowing you will not let the sun rise on the mayor's day of reckoning, Justice Stono.
Objection!
Objection! I won't fabricate any evidence.
Okay, well, that was... Then prove it by joining me. A night in the clink will ensure you will not succumb to temptation.
How about I just promise not to succumb to anything?
We have both evidence and a confession. The killer is this yokai before us. It is beyond dispute. A guilty verdict is all but...
What's wrong with him? Is he a robot? Did he just get a... What the hell? Prosecutor Blackwell, we've had enough of your hijinks. The foundation of justice is fair play, and you are in serious violation of that. Did he just tase him?
What in the devil was that? Fulbright, have you tampered with my shackles in some manner?
It seems you found that quite shocking. It's my special jolt of justice device. Each press is a shocking reminder to behave.
You shall pay for this. I, Simon Black... Ah!
Your Honor, you need not fear now. I believe Prosecutor Blackwell will remain on his best behavior. Yeah, a bit late with the reassurances, aren't we, Detective?
Well, in that case... This concludes today's deliberations. The prosecution and defense will use this opportunity to further their investigations. This court is adjourned.
I don't know much what to say about that trial. They had me, and then 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 they lost me. I think that was basically the crux of it, though, was that I was thinking about an explanation that didn't not make sense, but it didn't specifically indict the killer as much as their explanation, I think. But it's almost more frustrating because we know who the real killer is, because with us knowing that, it's really a practice in empathy, because with us knowing the real killer, the explanation that the security camera didn't see him because he just didn't leave the building is pretty straightforward. Not that necessarily is what it is, but it's like, that's like the easiest and most obvious explanation, but they don't have the information that LaBelle is the killer, so that explanation doesn't work for them. So trying to imagine it from the information they have is just a whole another ballgame. It almost has me wishing they didn't tell me who the killer was. Anyway, hopefully by the time we investigate a bit more, because obviously there's weirdness about the way the crime scene was set up, the way the statue was found, the way the cloth was stuck to the underside of the couch, the way the warding charm was removed. I feel like once we get another investigation and another few pages of evidence, next trial will be a little more straightforward than that. Anyway, at least we got through it and didn't die. That's all for now. Next video up on the channel is going to be some more Kingdom Hearts, which we're in that game, we're in a world that's confusing for an entirely different reason. But eerie and mind-bendy as this episode was, we made it. So thank you so very much for coming around. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Admiral's going to be out of here now. Peace. Oh, this looks weird as well. Oh wait, am I just supposed to hit the lever again? I'm not even allowed to target it. Basketball hoop with skulls weighing it down. Pretty sure there's supposed to be a hole in the bottom of the net for the basket skulls to go through. You'll never find the green door. I should be talking to them a lot to get all the rest of their